Folks, thanks for coming on the line with us today. My name's John Dubas. I'm a Vice President for Agent Success for Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 45 minutes or so discussing the use of a direct mail system to prospect not only for AEP, but also throughout the year. A bit of housekeeping here to start. Today's presentation is being recorded and will be sent as part of the follow-up to all who have RSVP'd for today's webinar. And all questions that show up in the chat will be answered either at the end of the presentation or if they're of a personal nature as part of the follow-up with that particular attendee. A little bit of information about our organization. Very quickly, we are a national marketing organization founded 50 years ago. We are part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We offer offices across the country and provide insurance contracts for independent insurance agents at the highest possible commission level with recruiting contracts available when appropriate. This gives you an idea of some of the scope of our operation with our platform partners. We are covering the country pretty well all across the board. We have multiple offices in different locations. For example, in Ohio, there are 3 different offices in the state of Ohio. So a great spread of folks that are there for you. We, on this call, work with Premier Marketing, which is headquartered out of North Fork, Nebraska. And the office that is conducting this particular webinar is based in Dallas. As I mentioned, our organization is 50 years old now. It's a very stable and large organization that offers individual health products and other programs to independent agents across the country. And we're one of the largest producers for a number of the carriers with whom we contract, including United Healthcare, Anthem, Meridian Care, one of the top 3 to 5 producers with multiple other carriers as well. The portfolio that we offer does give you a full range of Medicare programs, including Medicare Advantage, Med Sup, and PDP programs, life insurance, final expense, long and short-term care, disability income, and then, of course, ancillary benefits, which are such nice fillers for the needs of folks and a neat way to market throughout the year. That Medicare Advantage portfolio is very large, including the main national carriers and the number of regional carriers as well. And that also extends to our PDP portfolio. The Medicare Supplements that we offer are numerous and varied and include a couple of Medicare Supplements that were just rolled out a couple of weeks ago with Lumico and Union Security, which offer some really neat marketing opportunities. One of the things that we want to spend time with is speak to an overall marketing program and utilizing direct mail as a key piece of that comprehensive plan that we've put in place, not just for the upcoming AEP period, but for the entire year. And so it's important to note that we don't want to put all our eggs in a single basket. There are a number of different campaigns that we can reference, and that includes the use of cold call campaigns, different community-based marketing programs such as retail marketing, Walmart, CVS, other type of programs of that nature. Faith-based venues, we had a webinar last week on discussing how to work with and through faith-based organizations. We also have a complete program dealing with working with provider marketing, and that includes not only doctors and specialists, but also providers such as dentists and pharmacists, DME carriers, other folks that provide care to the market that we provide benefits to as well. We also like to incorporate in different carrier programs. Many of the programs offered by different insurance carriers have certain incentives for you to use and take advantage of. We also work very closely in different communities for different activities that put you in the public in your target market. There are certain programs that do allow for door knocking. So some of the ancillary products, and particularly final expense, that's a great way to market that program. We have an innovative social media program called Coverage Made Easy as well. And then, of course, there comes the ever popular and dependable direct mail. As I mentioned before, it's important to coordinate this activity and do some things systematically and consistently in order to make the overall package work. So if we're talking about direct mail, why did I just go through 6 other categories of marketing? Well, because you can use direct mail in any of those additional categories to improve the return on investment in those categories as well. There are a number of agents that will do a select number of direct mail pieces and then follow behind it on a cold call basis to somewhat warm up the introduction to that call. So it's a unique way of using direct mail on perhaps a smaller scale of letters that are being generated. Many agents will do a certain number per week and then follow up with them as part of their calls. It helps discipline the agent to market regularly, once again, doing things consistently. And it also is a way to reach out to people and touch them right when you pique their interest through a direct mail piece. And then, of course, if you organize a plan for retail marketing to make it important, to make it really successful and important to your overall success, it's really important to note that if you become involved in a retail program and just go there and sit and wait for folks to come to you, it's not going to be as successful. We actually have different suggestions on how to work the community to draw a greater response into your location, to deepen the relationship with the store and department management, and that can be accomplished through direct mail in the area as well. Different faith-based venues, if you are able to work up an agreement with a particular church and hold a meeting there, not only are you able then to draw the audience from that community, but you're also able to reach out into the local area and do a mail campaign to help them with their outreach, further ingratiate yourself with church leadership, and also increase your attendance. And then, of course, many of the providers that we work with, when it comes to particularly primary care doctors or dentists, they're interested in growing their practice. And one of the ways that we do that is to target an area with about a 5-mile radius of a propinquity that will draw in new patients to that provider. And that provider, in many cases, then will also reciprocate and do a mailer in a compliant fashion for their current patient base as well. The carrier programs that I referred to, in many circumstances, a number of the carriers actually offer a direct mail program completely through their organization, where they will work up branded pieces and make certain that they are working with you on a consistent basis. As you do business with them, they're reciprocating and adding to your overall marketing program. The different community activities, if you have an opportunity to do a presentation outside of a church or perhaps at a senior center or someplace else, direct mail can help support that as well. And then there are a number of agents that will work a door knocking campaign for, let's say, dental programs or final expense, where they'll target an area, drop a mail piece, basically announcing their presence in the neighborhood, and follow it up in order to kind of warm that welcome as well. Some of the things that we've seen in the social media arena is the fact that some folks will actually use direct mail to drive response to social media campaigns. It's really kind of a neat way to make certain that you're leveraging technology along with the direct mail campaign, driving awareness to perhaps your website or to the different informational campaigns you put through with Facebook or LinkedIn or a number of the other social media avenues that you have to follow. So that's the reason we talk about 6 different additional pieces of accessing the public in addition to just regular direct mail. So one of the things to think of is you always hear that, boy, direct mail's dead. You know, I usually have a picture of Monty Python with the death card, bring out your dead. Well, to paraphrase Mark Twain, reports of the death of direct mail has been greatly exaggerated. It's a consistent piece of marketing strategy that garners good results. Part of the challenge that we have as agents is sometimes we get caught up in the microwave mentality that we have in the public in general and think that, boy, it's going to work really quickly. This is going to be it. You keep in mind that as you work with different mail house vendors, it isn't like they are holding responses for you to order and have them immediately. As you create a campaign with a mail house, it takes you a while sometimes to order it. It takes them then a little bit of time to actually conduct the mail campaign, and then a little bit of time for you to get a result back. Because remember, as much as we have become an electronic society, social media doesn't fix everything. We have to depend upon some tried and true methods and diversify our efforts as well. When you look at some of the communication that comes out about the U.S. Postal Service and some of the monies that they need in order to stay in effect and be present, actually, we got to realize that there are a number of folks that still rely on U.S. Postal Service. And if you're anything like me and you pick up your mail every day, well, gee, one of the things that keeps them in business is direct mail. Do you respond to it all the time? No. But upon occasion, I'll go through and I'll look for a coupon. I'll look for a letter that piques my interest. And you have successfully marketed if you're able to do just that. One of the reasons why direct mail is still a great marketing tool, well, 8 out of 10 people review their mail daily. It's one of the things that we see in some of the social media where people will pop on every now and then and don't do it as regularly as some of the others. Now keep in mind there's statistics out that says Facebook utilizers generally will access it 6 to 8 times a day. Well, are they reading? Are they breezing? Anyway, the folks that look at their mail, 8 out of 10 of them will review it daily. And when you deal with the target demographic that we normally approach, 78% of the folks prefer receiving mail over all other marketing methods. You having any luck with cold calling lately? Some folks do, but that is a good way to build scar tissue. This is a little less painful way to do it, but it's one of the things that we have to realize that just folks that just like getting direct mail. Actually, over half of them say they actually enjoy reviewing it. And 50% of the folks have said in a polling here that they've responded to a direct mail offer within the last 6 months. Some of you might be shaking your head just a wee bit there. Keep in mind, are we of the same demographic that we're approaching? So you have a little bit of difference when it comes to that. And almost all of the people have taken action because of the direct mail that they've received within the last year. So you have an effective piece to reach the public that you're looking to approach. And to be honest, you have a ton of companies out there that have experience and know how to elicit a maximum response. And that is part of the expertise we take advantage of when we visit with the different folks that will perform the service for us, actually do the mailing. There are a number of companies that will actually, too, tailor in technology to help make the mail even more effective. There are folks that utilize QR codes. You have a nice place here then with the systems that come into place that deal with real-time responses. When you mail a piece back in many circumstances, you hit them really quickly, they remember it. There are occasions where they don't, but it gives you an opportunity to reach someone when they are so-called hot. It does allow you also to tailor a campaign that works very concisely and precisely with the market that you are looking to pursue. Because you can do things by zip codes or neighborhoods or 4-zip extensions, you are able to reach a particular target market that might be part of your overall campaign. And I got a Walmart in this neighborhood. I'm working with a dock right down the street. I'm mailing the neighborhood. I'm establishing myself as the subject matter expert for that particular area. And as I mentioned before, it's a neat way to tie in different social media campaigns as well, because you can have that information on the mailer and you can use it to drive electronic response as well. One of the things that we see quite frequently as well is the fact that many of us consider ourselves Mark Twain or Robert Frost or some other great author, and we want to create our own piece. In my personal opinion, the only time that I would utilize such a system is if I am looking to establish my presence in a community and I'm using some templates that have been supplied to me by different mail houses and plug and play some of the information that is my own personal information. Remember, these mail houses have done this for an extended period of time, and we need to benefit and utilize their experience. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Some of the things that we're seeing now too is many of the vendors that work this market substantially and look at the response they're looking to elicit for the AEP period is, when are you going to mail? And believe it or not, today is October 1st already. Pardon me, boy, I'm skipping ahead of time. August 1st. August is one of the best times to mail for the AEP period, even though the marketing period specifically for it doesn't begin until October 1st. There are different pieces, however, that you would want to utilize with a particular intent in mind. Keep in mind, more med sups are written during AEP than any other time of the year as well. So it's a nice way for you to kind of hedge your bet and get the mail out there ahead of the 2-inch pile that may follow you. It's also important to note that some of these mail houses will actually block off a segment of the population they regularly mail, where they will only mail it once with a particular mailer. And so someone else wanting to go into that area with a letter that they've selected, someone else has used it, well, it blocks them out of that particular area. It's a protection for us as well, but it's something to consider. Some of the other things, well, there's the famous Al Capone quote, vote early and vote often. Consider doing things with consistency, but also consider doing things that mirror some of your previous effort. We've talked about the fact that mailing early can help, so voting early, and then considering not only mailing at the beginning of the period, but in the middle of the period to some of the same population, so they recognize your name, and you will see a response rate that will, in many times, parallel the initial piece simply because you're following up on it. You got other folks that, well, I thought about the first letter, didn't do anything with it. Second one, I have. It is also an important piece to remember is sometimes you can get CoOp dollars from particular carriers, and in many circumstances, they will then request, shall we put it that way, that you use a branded mailer with their information. Obviously, if we're getting a really good deal on the mail piece, you're going to want to do that, but you will see in most circumstances, you get a higher response rate if you're using a generic mailer versus a branded mailer. One of the nice things that we also see now is many of the vendors that we use in our mail house campaigns is they offer a customer database as part of the service that they extend as part of your mailing. So the responses actually come back electronically, and you're able to use a database to stay on top of the responses and maximize the return you get out of the people who have actually responded. And I think you'll see that in greater detail here in just a few slides. Some of the things that we are sometimes asked is, well, how many mailers should I send? Well, obviously, budget is a key piece of it, but also working it backwards based on different mailing percentages. The response rate will give you an idea of, okay, I'm going to need this many leads to sell this many people to make this much money. And that will give you an idea on how to plan for volume based on your marketing plans and the goals that you've set for yourself as well. This is actually an example of that for the legacy safeguard system that's used for final expense. It gives you an idea then of the return on your investment during a direct mail campaign. Pardon me, I'm jumping ahead here on you. This is one of the things that we do at Premier, is offer, in essence, co-op for the mailing that you do as well. If you are an agent with our organization and produce some business, we discount or co-op the cost of the mailing that is available to you. We do ask that you use one of our preferred lead vendors, and that you use an approved letter within that lead vendor's magazine of choices, so to speak, on different letters that are available. Why would we do that? Well, a whole bunch of the mail that's going out right about this time period or will be in the immediate future deal with Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plans, and you have compliance concerns. Different ways that a letter is written has different regulations that come into play. That includes font size, that includes the language that's part of it. Don't use that word free. There are different things that you have to satisfy in order to stay out of the compliance doghouse. And so we want to make certain that we help you stay legit, in a manner of speaking, and maximize your return anyway. One of the things that you may find is, well, you will find, the smaller the disclaimer, the larger the return. Unfortunately, that may take you out of compliance, and so we have to make certain that we watch what we do and walk that fine line of, we want the maximum response, but we want to do it in a circumstance that is compliant for us. We actually notify you each and every month as you qualify for this assistance as well. So as you come on with our organization and produce different pieces of business with us, you will receive email notifications saying, hey, you qualify for a discount on your direct mail. Here's the code. Here's how you work it. So a great way for you to stay on top of your business and know what kind of support you are getting from the organization with whom you contract. These are the 4 vendors that we work with as preferred lead vendors: Powermail, Target Lead, Lead Concepts, Kramer Direct. They're the biggies in the industry, and all of them are a strong partner with us with a book of letters that are available to you that you can use to market appropriately. Once again, these are programs that are based off of the 1,000-piece mailing. Generally, the carriers or the vendors will hold orders for just a couple of weeks, and they have different procedures that you go through to access the co-op with them as well. This is an example of the information that is available through Powermail. The email address here, the hot link is active, and you will see that in these programs, many times on their website, they will advertise perhaps different sales, in a manner of speaking, the information they have on their lead management systems, and it gives you an opportunity to look at the samples of the different letters that are there for you. Here is Target Leads. And as a bit of a side note, Today being August 1st, well, by golly, you sign up with, or you get on their list, you also receive notifications from the company directly, and it gives you an opportunity to look at any type of specials that they have in play. So another way of you making certain that you keep your thumb on the pulse of what's being offered to you by the different approved vendors as well. So in addition to target leads, here's lead concepts, and you'll notice many of them will speak to the difference with the different mail campaigns, but it also gives you the opportunity to see just how that letter is produced, because the quality of the piece that goes out will sometimes influence the response rate, and that's an important piece to be comfortable with. Kramer, of course, and they do some neat things with drip marketing as well. So a way for you to go and access the different vendors that are part of the list that we support in our co-op programs. It's also important to note that we're in a time period where a lot of the emphasis will be on Medicare products. Medicare supplement mailers have a little different leeway as to what can be said and done because they are regulated differently than Medicare Advantage plans. They aren't not subject to some of the same MIPA regulations that we have in the Part C programs, but it does give you also the latitude to perhaps approach the same area as we mentioned before with two mailings. Well, perhaps the first one is speaking to Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. The second one may be approaching the public with a Medicare supplement piece, because keep in mind, there's no one solution that's right for everyone, and having the variety will also help establish yourself as the expert in the area and will help your response rates. As you go through the year, there are different things that come into mind where you can utilize your full portfolio of products and vary the campaign throughout the year. One of the things that we have found too is, well, different letters get different response rates. If you want to mail a final expense piece, your response is going to be a certain amount. The response that comes back will be fairly well qualified, but you could perhaps, even though you're looking to approach that market or throughout the year Medicare Advantage or Med Sup programs, consider mailing a dental, vision, or hearing type of approach, because those have higher response rates. It gives you the opportunity to cross-sell, enter to the house, address the issue that's been identified by the mailer, and then appropriately market the other portion of your portfolio. So having some information made available through a short needs analysis can really help you grow your overall book of business and diversify the product that you have in a household, driving the persistency up across the board. So, as I mentioned, rotating that arsenal of topics throughout the year can be very helpful. It is, of course, much like an exercise program where you need to commit to doing it regularly. Being consistent is the key, because keep in mind, much like an exercise program, if you do it just once or twice, you kind of feel the pain, you don't see a lot of the gain. You do it consistently, that's where you see the results that you need to drive your business year-round. There may be a few of you that are independently wealthy and do this as a hobby only during open enrollment. I don't know too many of you that do that. So we want to make certain that we are doing things on a consistent basis and we're generating revenue and income throughout the year. Some of the programs that really do get some great attention at any time of the year deal with Medicare supplements that may generically speak to a rate or be branded with a particular company with the rates that come into play, and that works very successfully when you're dealing with a name brand, so to speak, Med Sup organization. There are folks that will use a combo message where they're speaking to Medicare supplement programs with dental as a separate piece of it as part of that message. There is, of course, too, the T65 market, pretty heavily pursued, but it's a market that's actively shopping. The Medicare Advantage programs have some unique benefits with them. Also, obviously, the ancillary benefits that come as part and parcel of the particular program, and that's a nice piece to use as part of the hook. It does also give you the opportunity that throughout the year, you can address different specific types of Medicare Advantage programs, special needs plans. And that includes chronic special needs programs that address certain health conditions, and then, of course, the low-income programs. And it might be a generic piece that deals with the assistance with extra help, the LIS, low-income subsidy program for medication programs. It may also address the assistance that people can qualify for Medicare savings programs. Or, hey, it might be a flat-out mailer for a DSNP program, a dual special needs plan with a carrier partner that's supporting you. And those tend to be a piece of the world where there are co-op dollars available, and those carriers want to work with folks that are diligent in working that segment of the market and do so compliantly. So what we're asking of you is to consider this as part of your overall marketing campaign. We have different details that are available to you with specifics when it comes to the sample letters. Obviously, you can get those from the vendors as well, but we will also make certain that we have them available for you, and we do. So if this is something you are considering, I would first urge you to do so quickly. Make it part of your overall marketing plan. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Decide to do it, and then do it. And then make certain that you are competent and comfortable with the programs that are being presented by that direct mail piece, so you can maximize your return on the investment. When those responses come back, it drives up your sales percentage, and we want to make certain that you do that because that's obviously how you make your money. And doing that on a consistent basis and actively marketing is a key portion of making this successful. And then, of course, there is the expression, when all is said and done, more is said than done. Well, get her done. This is contact information for our folks here in the Dallas office. The 800 number of 800-365-8208 will get you with any of the premier agent success managers, the marketers that you're working with, and just dial that number, ask for the person that you're dealing with, and they will get you to them, and they'll work through a program with this to help you market consistently and effectively. You also have email addresses if you prefer electronic communication in that fashion. And to be honest, you're going to get a bunch of the stuff back electronically, as you will receive the follow-up to today's presentation on an electronic basis as well. So all that said, I want to thank you for coming on the line with us today. We will send out the follow-up as soon as the recording is converted and get you the information that comes as part of today's follow-up. And I want to thank you for your participation on today's call. We look forward to speaking with you in the very near future, and we wish you good selling. Thanks a lot.